Around third, fourth arrow. Still getting a great reaction in the back end. Has made a slight adjustment. And that's a double. That's two great strikes in a row. So it may well be time that Ridwan has got to make a move as well. He will see the change in the lane through the ball reaction.
Much more conviction about that pair of deliveries from Gomez. I can see if Ridwan keeps some sort of pressure on here. Needs a strike, hasn't got it.
Stayed in the same area of the lane. Got a bit of an overreaction in the back end, and unfortunately it's the 4-6-7. It's left him a big split, which will be an open frame in frame number 7. So his lead is reduced.
Yeah, that's Gomez's open covered, but not by him. Although
That's
he did
right,
put
yeah.
that pair together, so he got a little bit of pressure on the Colombian. But this is approaching the part of the game where Ridwan has got to watch himself. Another one through the head pin.
Yeah, he's needs to make some sort of adjustment here. His line is not working. There's too much overreaction. He may have dropped his ball speed down a little bit, but he's certainly hooking up too much to the head pin. Not making the pocket, and of course goes 3 frames in a row without a strike.
So the only positive, Cass, it was 2 shots that were relatively similar. So Safik knows that if he does make an adjustment, it should work.
Oh dear. Just the time when you wanted to get 3 strikes in a row, you almost missed the head pin and leave the 2-8 spare. So his score doesn't progress, and Safik Ridwan stays 20+ pins in the lead, and we're coming up to the foundation frame already.
Yeah, Gomez knows that he's let his younger opponent off the hook there. 37 years of age, Andre Gomez, the Colombian.
Yeah, he can strike off for 221, which may not be enough. And there's the first one. That's the foundation frame, frame number 9. He's got to put another 3 together, really.
We just caught a little shot of Marshall Kent, the American that will play the winner of this match, warming up in the background. He has the lanes at the far end available to him of this Sky Bowling Centre.
That was a very big strike actually for Safik, because it gives him the opportunity to shut out Andres Gomez here in the 10th frame. If he can make 20 pins, he's going to be 224. So a spare and a strike, or a strike and a spare, and Gomez is shut out. Well, it's in the pocket and it's turned the 7 pin around, but it hasn't gone. But that may well be enough to take the second game here. Must spare it and take 8 pins on his bonus ball.
There's part 1 done.
Yeah, he just needs 8 pins now, and that will shut out and take game number 2. So the scores will be 1-1, and we'll be going into overtime again.
Okay, then this to send it into a third decisive game. And that will do nicely. Well done to Ridwan. Really good performance from him in this second game. Under quite a bit of pressure from Gomez once he recovered his composure. But Andre's got to go again in the decider.
Yes, Simon, 224 is going to be a winner. It's a little below par, but so is Andres Gomez's score as well.
Well, we have seen a little bit too much of the brain ball from Gomez's point of view. But Gomez, Ridwan, it's 1 apiece. The deciding game to come after the break.
Journey back through history with Forge of Empires and witness humanity's greatest inventions. Conquer new territories. build and expand your city. Research and discover new technologies to lead your empire into a new era. Whether it's by yourself or with friends, forge your own empire. Play now for free at foe.tv.
Dikkat et oğlum.
Pass auf. Pass op, pass op, pass op.
Attention, spatimo.
Nee.
Kalm.
Kijk, zo, doe maar. Precies.
Kom op.
Follow the score of your favorite team live and find the latest results and features with Eurosport's live score.
Get Eurosport.com for your iPhone free. Every day sees full and expert coverage of sports news with dozens of articles and an easy one-stop video section that lets you live and relive the very best moments of sport. Follow all the scores, fixtures and tables live. Eurosport.com, the reference and sport apps available on the App Store.
Welcome back to the Sky Bowling Centre semi-final of the men's 2012 QubicaAMF World Cup. We are going into overtime, the deciding game. Syafiq Ridwan of Malaysia just about to bowl up against the Colombian Andre Gomez, the man that we've seen quite a few times on Eurosport playing and winning on the PBA Tour. And as Syafiq delivers the first bowl successfully of this final game in the semi-final. Cass Edwards alongside me in the commentary booth. You've spotted something a little different down there on the lanes.
Yes, indeed, Simon. I'm glad you mentioned it as well, and I'm just wondering how many viewers at home have seen it. Competition bowling is bowled on a pair of lanes, like 1 and 2, or 5 and 6, or 7 and 8. This game has been played on lanes 10 and 11, which is an odd pair. You've actually got the the right-hand lane of lanes 9 and 10, and the left-hand lane of the 11 and 12 pair, which is very unusual. And in 40 odd years of bowling, I've never seen a tournament bowled on a non-pair. So how's that for a bit of trivia?
Yeah, that's an interesting one, and not something that the layman would spot easily, but the clue is there is no bowl return right in the middle of the player's area. And I guess from the right-hander's point of view, that does free up the right-hand lane if they're going to have to take a big old step to the left.
Yes, indeed. But it does look kind of unusual with 2 ball returns, because the players are have to pick their ball up and move physically across to the left-hand side to the next lane. Most unusual, but there you go. We move on. Gomez has had strike in an open frame, so he's down because Ridwan has had open up with a double. Oh, great looking strike.
He's not so sure.
Well, no, it looked pretty, didn't it? He'll certainly accept that every time he puts it near the 1-3, and if you get that result. Back on the lane where he had the 4-7-10 split.
Yeah, this has been the problem side for Andre Gomez. Sliding it across the head pin. He's done it again. Big shake of the head.
Well, it just snapped up in the back end, left the 4-6-7-9-10, known as the Big 5. More than likely to be an open frame, and as I say, it's the same man that opened up last time. He only takes 3, so he's strike open.
Not a good start for the man that opened in this semi-final by winning the first game, but this man, Syafiq Ridwan, with what I would describe as a workmanlike performance, has managed to keep himself in the hunt, and now he's got a chance of going through to meet Marshall Kent, the young American, in the final.
Well, he throws 4 strikes in a row. You can't start better than that. Andres Gomez has got 2 open frames, and unfortunately, he's way back. He's 40-odd pins adrift. And if you're playing a man that's averaging 230-odd, you may not be that confident of catching him up. He sees the funny side of leaving that solid 8-pin right in the pocket. So his maximum score can reduce down to 279. Which, the way he's playing, you wouldn't put him past actually doing that. We're at the halfway stage already.
Well, that break in the run of strikes really the only bit of light in this semi-final for Andre Gomez, but he needs to find his own striking run now.
Change of ball for Gomez. You saw him change the thumb inserts from one ball to the other, so he's changed his strike ball. Really needs to get a bit of a run going here. And that's a much better reaction in the back end with that ball. So it really was a good move. Whether Mr. Kaminsky suggested it or not, we don't know, but it was a good move. Gives him a chance to stay in this game.
Yeah, it's one of those decisions where the player will probably come back, sit down and say to the coach, look, I'm going to change. And then the coach will say, OK, yeah, go for it. And it just reinforces that thought. And there was a lot of conviction about what Gomez did there, but Shafiq can still take it away from him. If he keeps striking, there is relatively little that the Colombian can do here. That's a cracking score so far from Ridwan.
Yes, as I say, pacing, not pacing 279, but can strike out for 279. Gomez really had little choice but to try something, because had he stayed with the ball he was doing, he wasn't getting the reaction, and he'd have been swamped, I think.
Upper hand to Malaysia. I mentioned the team competition earlier on in our coverage of this AMF World Cup, and that team prize will go down to the last game, because whoever wins it out of Malaysia and USA will take that away as well. Gomez not out of it just yet, but something quite dramatic has got to happen here for Shafiq Ridwan not to go through to meet Marshall Kent. And he's giving it his best shot, isn't he? But I think he knows the writing is on the wall.
Well, he's certainly trying. It was a great ball change. He can't cover two open frames in a row on that left-hand lane. Not one this man is almost striking at will.
Well, leaving that corner pin, the 10 stands firm. Didn't really get any sort of touch from the other pins, but this should be a relatively straightforward spare, and spares are good enough for the man from Malaysia.
Yes, they certainly are at this moment. He'll have to put a couple of strikes in the last two frames, but he's got the lead, and well, there you can see it's 44 pins as it stands at the moment, with just a couple of frames to go, and I can't see, and there's Gomez pulling those back, or I can't see Shafiq giving it up. And there you go, striking the 9th, the foundation frame, and this is pretty much done and dusted.
Holloway here with a big smile. He knows that his man is nearly home and dry. Now then, Andre Gomez. No other choice but to strike.
Looking for 5 in a row. It's frame number 9, and he's just a fraction light in that pocket.
Well, the machine's set here at the Sky Bowling Centre to give the messenger pins a lot of time to get across to the corners. So it's another one of those factors that could lead to high scoring. And on that occasion, Gomez couldn't quite get it across. Out comes the brain ball. Out goes the 10 pin, and down goes the head of the Colombian. He knows that this is just about done and dusted.
Maximum score of 213 will not be enough. And unfortunately, Andres will be going back to Florida in the USA on the next flight, probably.
Well, 213 used to be solid, but in this era of super high scoring, I'm afraid it's not even par these days, not for these champions. Cutting a forlorn figure is the Colombian. He would have dearly loved to bring this one home. Had some very, very good World Cup bowlers over the years, the Colombian team.